You know, in all the courtroom dramas we watch, our eyes are glued to the lawyers, the judge, maybe the jury. But today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a role that you've probably never even heard of. A role that can literally make or break a case long before anyone ever steps foot in a courtroom. All right, let's get into it.
So, to really get who our unsung hero is, first you have to understand the insane pressure cooker that is a prosecutor's office. An assistant district attorney, an ADA, is facing this constant, just overwhelming dilemma. So what do you think it is? What's the single biggest threat to one of their cases? A surprise witness popping up at the last second? Some hotshot defense attorney? Maybe a jury you just can't read? I mean, those are all good guesses, but the real answer, it's a lot less dramatic and it happens way earlier.
Yeah, the biggest threat is a mistake. A simple mistake made during the prep phase. One little oversight, a document that gets misplaced, and months of hard work can completely unravel. A case can get thrown right out. The real battle? It's won or lost in the tiny details, way before the trial even begins.
And just to give you an idea of the scale of this problem, get this. A single ADA is often juggling more than 100 active cases at the same time. Every single one of them has its own mountain of evidence, its own paperwork, and its own ticking clock of deadlines. I mean, what this really means is that ADAs are absolutely swamped. You've got these massive caseloads, you're constantly in and out of court, and you know that one single mistake could be catastrophic. There's just no way they have time to personally manage the unbelievable amount of paperwork that flows through that office. And this is where our hero finally enters the story. The solution to this whole prosecutor's dilemma is a specialist, a professional who acts as the gatekeeper for the most critical part of the pretrial process.
That process is called discovery. It's basically a legal rule that says both sides have to lay all their cards on the table before the trial. No ambushes, no secret evidence. It's all about making sure the trial is fair, and it's pretty much the foundation of our justice system today.
So who is the person managing all of this? It's the Trial Preparation Assistant, or TPA. The source material for this explainer calls them the operational backbone of discovery, and honestly, that's the perfect way to put it. They're the ones wrangling all the police reports, the witness statements, the body cam videos, all of it.
Now, inside this world of discovery, there's one thing so important it has its own special name: Brady material. This comes from a huge Supreme Court case, Brady versus Maryland. And what it means is that prosecutors have to, by law, turn over any piece of evidence that might help the defendant's case. And failing to do that, whoa, it's not just a slip-up, it's what's called a Brady violation. It's a catastrophic error that can get a case dismissed, a conviction overturned, and can even end a prosecutor's career. It's a really big deal.
So how in the world does a TPA manage all this chaos and make sure justice is actually served? Well, their value really stands on three key pillars of impact. Let's break them down.
It really comes down to these three things. They mitigate that huge legal risk we were just talking about, they make the entire legal team way more efficient, and they build a foundation of trust that the whole system depends on.
Okay, so let's start with risk. The TPA is the absolute first line of defense against a Brady violation. They are the ones digging through every single piece of evidence, page by page, looking for that one needle in a haystack, that one interview, that one lab result that could possibly help the defense. They find it, they flag it, and they create a perfect paper trail to prove it was handed over.
And that brings us to the second pillar, efficiency. The source material has this fantastic metaphor for it, calling the TPA a document management maestro. Think about it. By handling the thousands of pages and hours of video, they free up the ADA to do what only the lawyer can do, build the legal strategy, and actually argue the case in court.
And finally, all of this builds trust, right? A prosecutor's entire career is built on their integrity. They have to know without a shadow of a doubt that the case file they walk into court with is complete and accurate. The TPA, with their obsessive attention to detail, becomes the anchor of the whole process. They make sure that trust is earned every single time.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but let's put it to the test. Let's look at a real-world scenario that shows exactly what a TPA does when everything goes sideways at the worst possible moment.
So picture this. It is 4:30 on a Friday afternoon. A huge armed robbery trial is just a few weeks away. Then the phone rings. It's a detective. He just found new surveillance footage that everyone completely missed, and the clock is seriously ticking.
And bam, just like that, 4 crises hit at once. The discovery deadline is tonight. The new footage might be Brady material. It looks like the gun might have been a toy. The guy who owns the camera system and needs to verify the footage, he's leaving for vacation tomorrow. Oh, and the lead prosecutor on the case, she's in another trial and you can't reach her. It's a total nightmare.
So, what do? I mean, do you panic? Do you just hide under your desk and hope it all goes away by Monday? No way. This is exactly where TPA's training just shines.
See, an untrained person might just freeze up, but the TPA, they execute a plan. Watch this. They immediately get on the phone to the prosecutor's supervisor and the defense attorney. They arrange for someone to meet the camera owner tonight to authenticate the footage before he leaves. They prep the legal disclosure documents, they update the evidence log, they coordinate with the IT department to get copies made, all while documenting every single step. They take total chaos and turn it into a calm, controlled, and legally sound process. Just incredible.
And that scenario, right there, perfectly shows why the TPA isn't just some administrative role. They are a truly critical piece of the justice system itself. The author of the source material we're looking at, Claudia Reid, she sums it up perfectly in her field manual. She writes that TPAs directly impact the fairness, legality, and success of criminal cases. Think about that. Their work isn't just behind the scenes. It is the scene. It's the foundation that justice is built on.
And that really gets to the heart of it all. You know, we picture the scales of justice as this big, grand idea, but in reality, they're balanced by the small, quiet, diligent actions of professionals like trial preparation assistants. They make sure fairness isn't just an accident, it's the result of a process done right.
Which kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We've uncovered one of these unsung heroes today. But it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other invisible roles, these anchors of the process, are out there right now, quietly making sure our world actually works?